We are about to do a tier list for the best solo carry characters when you're hopping into trios in My Hero Ultra Rumble. There unfortunately is no solo queue game mode or even duo queue game mode. Eventually, maybe they'll come out with something like that, but that will be a separate tier list later on. Before we get into this, I want to apologize. I tried to upload this video earlier and it got completely corrupted, so here we are redoing the tier list. So our very first character we're going to be placing is All Might. All Might I would put into does okay tier, or you can just call this good tier if you want. All Might is a solid character when it comes to damage. He has a fairly good maneuverability when it comes to his jump and stuff like that, but he just doesn't have quite the range that some of the other carry characters are going to have. And so on that note, Bakugo is definitely going to go into the carry category. I would say Bakugo right now is probably the most broken character in game. His AP shot just does way too much damage, or his alpha move does way too much damage, and it's actually insane. His grenades are really easy to utilize for AoE damage as well, and his ability to reposition himself and heal and then continue a fight is nuts. It's just, he's so good. He has like the maneuverability of a speed character while also having the damage of a power character. That's what makes Bakugo so ridiculously good, and that's why we're going to put him into carry tier. The next character we're going to be placing is Todoroki. Todoroki is also really good, just like Bakugo, and he is also a power character with some decent maneuverability. I wouldn't say he's as good as a speed character. Like, I think Bakugo's ability to fly is just really insane and really good. Todoroki I would say is like a step down from Bakugo, but I think he's still better than okay because he has good damage with his alpha attack. He has good maneuverability, being able to slide around on the ice, and the really big thing for him is that he has his ice wall that blocks so many attacks. Like, his ice wall is really strong, right? So I think Todoroki is definitely a character you can hop into a match not knowing the people you're playing with, hop into a match with randoms and solo carry the randoms to win as Todoroki. Same thing for Bakugo. The next character we're going to be placing is Yaoyorozu. Yaoyorozu is a character that I would say is going to be a little more difficult for you to carry your team. She has okay range with her cannon, but her cannon is hard to aim. If you know how to play her, you could do okay with your shield bash and stuff like that, but she is... I feel like you need your team to play with Yaoyorozu to actually make her really good, but on her own I think she'll do okay. The next character we're going to be placing is Ibura. Now, this is one character that I've said I think she's really good in game, and people are like, but she has no movement, so you have to know how to play her. And that's true. That's definitely true. I do still think, however, Ibura is an insanely good character. However, when you're hopping in to a trios match solo, you don't really know your teammates might be doing whatever. Let's say they abandon you, right? And you're just off on your own fighting. You are never going to win the fights, at least not easily when it's 1v3, because her kit, the idea behind it is to capture or to send out like kind of wide-ranging AoE in front of you, and there's just so many angles they can attack you from, and you can't capture and hold somebody while you're being attacked by another person, so it's going to be really hard to use her solo. So that's why we're going to put her in terrible tier for right now. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. The next character we're going to be placing is Shigaraki. Shigaraki has decent range with his decay. He can put the decay around him to protect himself kind of from all angles. He is able to destroy buildings, which could cause a little bit of chaos. I don't know how that's really going to help him when you're hopping in solo queue, destroying a building, but I mean, it could, given the right situation. So I'm going to put him in okay tier as well. I don't think he's as cracked as Bakugo and Todoroki, obviously. In the right situation, when the ring gets small enough, and if you have his skills up to level 9, you could definitely do some damage to Shigaraki. But I still feel like he gets outranged and outclassed by these characters who have a lot more maneuverability as well. The next character we're going to be placing is Mount Lady. Mount Lady can absolutely tear up solo play, especially if you just wanted to rat. Don't do this, please don't rat, like it's so boring. But if you wanted to rat your way to the end, you just hide in the bush, right? And you're Mount Lady and you wait till the ring gets small enough, and then you just transform. There is nowhere for anyone to go. And yeah, you may not have a ton of maneuverability. Like, you have your kick dash, which is okay, but you don't need it because the ring's so small, and you just if you've leveled up your alpha ability, your punches, your air punches, then you're just going to be able to kill multiple teams on your own. Now you do have to be careful with Mount Lady though, because she is a big target obviously, but if you use her correctly, I think she is definitely carry tier. She is a character who can absolutely carry you to the dub if you are hopping in solo and your teammates are booty cheeks. The next character we're going to be placing is Kirishima. I think Kirishima has a lot of combo potential, but he has very little maneuverability. He has some kind of like when you use your alpha attack, he'll run at people and it's okay. But I feel like he works so much better with a team. And so for that reason, we're going to put him in terrible tier as well, just because he kind of lacks maneuverability and he requires your team to kind of really help him out. Like there are some crazy combos you can do with Kirishima and Kendo. It's really cool to watch. The next character we're going to be placing for the solo tier list is going to be Deku. Deku, there's definitely an argument here to be made for carry tier. I feel like I should almost put him in carry tier because Bakugo and Todoroki are in carry, like they're in that carry tier, right? But I feel like he's just a smidge less good than Bakugo and Todoroki, and for that reason I'm going to put him in okay. He does have some maneuverability. He has his Black Whip. He has his ability to do the air cannon. That air cannon is still really strong, but I feel like Bakugo, his AP shot is still just stronger, and Todoroki's Alpha Fire is still stronger than Deku's air cannon. I would have to actually look at, I might be wrong, I'd have to look at the actual numbers, but I think these two are just kind of a cut above when it comes to their kits and what they can do and how easy it's going to be for you to carry when you hop in solo. The next character we're going to be placing is Toga. Toga can absolutely 110% be a carry character, because if you know how to play Toga well, then you are playing every character. You can be any character you want potentially, and you can carry your team to the dub. So meaning you can also become Bakugo, you can become Todoroki or Mount Lady, any of these three other carry characters, and use their kits. So Toga's at the top of a lot of tier lists just because of what she does and who she is. Her kit is absolutely insane. Even outside of not transforming, she is really strong. Like she's a really good character. The next character is Tsu. Tsu is an interesting character, and this is where we're finally going to put one in the other tier that has not been used yet, and that is the good support and team evasion. So this is still kind of like a carry character, but not a carry character. So Tsu, I would say out of the speed characters, has probably the best chance to cause consistent damage. Okay, I really like her kit. Every piece of her kit is really good and really useful. Her camouflage is useful. Her ability to snipe people is useful. Her Q is really useful. If you combo it correctly, it is kind of hard to combo. But that's not the main focus, and that's not the reason I am putting her here where I'm putting her in good support. The real reason I'm putting her in good support is because of her maneuverability, her ability to jump around and use her tongue to fly places. It's really insane. And so if your teammates go down in the storm or something like that, and you have a revive card, or you need to go grab revive cards from fights that are happening, you can just go steal revive cards, grab your teammates' coins, and up them really easily. So that's why this character is going into good support, because maybe you can't win the fights, but you can get your teammates up over and over again to maybe eventually get you to that dub at the end of the game. So that's where I'm going to put her for solo. If you want a character that can kind of help you make it to the end of the game and survive, that's where I think Tsu belongs. The next character we're going to be putting in is Kaminari. Kaminari is really strong and really fun. His biggest problem is that he lacks maneuverability. However, if you upgrade like his AoE, you could definitely wipe out a whole team, but he is a dangerous character to use because if you hold your AoE too long, then he goes dumb and you open yourself up for attacks. And so I feel like it's just, he's not on the same level once again as Bakugo and Todoroki. He doesn't have their range, and he has downsides to the damage that he can do. So you have to be careful using Kaminari, but he definitely is okay, and you have a chance to solo carry with him if you wanted. The only characters I would say it's going to be really, really hard to solo carry, like if you hopped into a match without teammates, it would be hard to do it as Ibara or Kirishima so far. Kendo is another character who I am also going to add to the terrible tier though for hopping in solo. The reason being is that she is a very team-oriented character. Her entire kit essentially is really good for helping your team. She has her shield that can protect your team. She can pick players up on your team and throw them into the fight, or grab them and throw them out of the fight so they can go heal. She is a really, probably one of the best supports in game and a lot of fun to play. Her clap does a good amount of damage, and it can definitely, I think it's like 2 or 3 claps fully upgraded by the end of the game, and she can knock somebody, which is insanely good. But once again, her range is not that great, so it's going to be hard. Like, let's say a full team's left at the end of the game and you're in here solo, it's going to be hard for you to take on a full team as Kendo, so that's why we're going to put her in terrible tier. Next we have Dabi. Dabi is able to put down flames around him, block projectiles from coming in. He can set traps on top of bodies instead of finishing people, so that when they try to move they just die, and then you can continue fighting while those traps are placed, which is really, really nice. But I feel like at the same time he lacks maneuverability, and because he lacks maneuverability, we're going to put him into OK tier. I know some people are going to be like, Dabi should definitely be carry tier because his attacks auto lock and track people, which is true, and it's annoying. But I like compare Dabi to like Bakugo. Bakugo's better, right? In my opinion, I think most people would agree, but you know, of course, everyone's entitled to their opinions, so let me know down in the comments. Next, we have Compress. Compress is a character who is insanely good at support and evasion specifically. Like, he is so much fun to play. You can throw your teammate in your pocket, get out of a bad situation. He's just so good, and then he does a ton of damage with his kit as well, and spamming the cars or the rocks onto people is a ton of fun. Deflecting moves is really good support for like protecting your teammates and stuff like that if you need to. He can go into the storm, grab banners, throw himself back out of the storm, revive your teammates, so he's really good for that. When it comes to the end game, he is going to have a little bit of trouble, I believe, carrying your team to the dub, or just carrying yourself to the dub if you're 1v3 again, because he is limited on his range with his attack skills. The next character we're going to be placing is Cementos. Cementos, there is an argument for carry tier almost, but unfortunately he lacks mobility. He does have the ability to obviously kind of throw his cement down and move himself, create pillars, create platforms and stuff like that, but it's not the level of like Todoroki and Bakugo. You could even argue Toga's mobility because she can have everyone else's mobility. Like, it's not the level of these characters in their mobility, and he is so much fun to play, but at the same time you have to be careful with Cementos, because when you do throw your cement at people, it knocks them up, throws them in random directions a lot of times if you're not planning for it, and it can make him hard to use, especially if you're going in solo versus a full team. It can be really hard to use. He does have his AoE platform, which can do a ton of damage to a team, but for now we're going to put him in OK tier. Next we have Uraraka. I have played Uraraka quite a bit. I am not the biggest fan of her kit, but I will say she is pretty good at supporting the team and at evading like fights and encounters that she doesn't want to be in. She uses her anti-gravity. She can fly around just as fast, if not faster than Tsu. Go into the storm, just like I've said for these other two. Grab your players' cards, bring them back up. She can go grab items for your players and bring them to players and stuff like that. Like, she's really, really good at that type of stuff. She's decent in a fight. Her hammer is good because, you know, she spins and she can continue spinning till after the player gets back up after their invuln and hit them again. So she's decent for that, but I still feel like other characters outrange her and do more damage, especially those characters that are in carry tier, and even some of the characters here in Does OK technically outrange her and are going to do more damage, so keep that in mind. Next we have Ida. Ida is a very, very tricky one to place here. So I feel like Ida could be potentially carry tier. I feel like he could be a good support. I also feel like he could be okay. He's probably the hardest one I have to place because his kit is so much different from everyone else's, right? The main problem I have with Ida, and the reason I'm probably not gonna put him into carry, is because one of his skills is just to speed him up and run, and then if you do that skill, then you're kind of useless for a few seconds and it tuckers him out, and that's a little bit of a problem in my opinion. Everything else about Ida, he has ridiculous combo potential. He can one-shot basically somebody with one combo if you do it right. He's really, really good. And he's also just as good as Uraraka and Su, I would say, at going around and gathering up your friends' cards and stuff like that, and getting those things to help get your randoms to the dub. So I'm going to put him in some good support. He's almost carry, like he's got really good speed, he's got fairly decent range, he's got good combos. Just the fact that he's just got the one skill that could really screw him over if you use it wrong, or you use it at all. Let's say it's you versus 3 people at the end of the game and you use that skill, it's probably not going to end well for you. So that's why we're going to place Ida where we're placing him. And that is the end of the placement for the characters. Let me know if you guys agree or disagree with this solo queue tier list, and we'll adjust accordingly. I will read the comments. Whichever comments get the most likes, we'll adjust. If you guys enjoyed the video, please go down there, hit that like button, and hit that subscribe button. And thank you guys for watching. Peace.